most out of our Luke on Location series. And first, I thought I would start off by letting us walk through really where the idea of this series came from. And so, Jeff, if you could kind of give us an idea of where the concept and idea for this series started.
Yeah, I've been to Israel several times, and I've taken several groups now with me to Israel, and I've just observed how everyone, their understanding of Scripture, first of all, just blossoms as they're able to see it, and it becomes full color. And I think that enriches their faith, definitely changes their walk with the Lord, and so I wanted to be able to share that with everybody or as many people as possible. And it's just not realistic that everybody can travel there. It's prohibitive cost wise and a few other things for some folks, and I get that. But a lot of people would like to go, like to see in person these things that they read about in Scripture. And so I started talking about actually a long time ago with Fred Hastings about how could we capture this and share it with the church. So I talked about going over and doing videos myself, but we believe in team. We value team a lot, and we're teaching with the team. And I thought, hey, what an incredible thing to take guys that do a lot of the teaching at our different locations, and people responsible for curriculum and direction and stuff, to take them and let them to see it firsthand. I mean, I didn't know if we could create content that people would want to watch, but I did know that by taking Matt, Ben, and Andrew, that I could at least impact them and their vision of the word, and that'll change people's lives just from that. So I knew it was worthy just from that. But we went with the vision of capturing some content that we can share. And I don't know, we put a lot of prep time, a lot of work into really being ready so that we could make the most of the moments and the things that we saw and we could share. We landed on Luke as a teaching platform to utilize. If you study the Gospels and you think about their audience intention, you think about the way that the text is laid out. Luke is really good. He's a Gentile, a non-Jewish guy, so he's got a different perspective on Israel, and he lays out the gospel in a geographic format. I mean, all you have to do is read looking for location, and you begin to see, well, he's just moving around the country telling the story of Jesus. And I thought, okay, that's a great text for us to teach on location because it is geographically oriented. And so that's basically what we laid out to do, to follow the major movements and see what Jesus taught in different locations. Our vision with this whole thing is to follow what he lays out in the first few verses. That is, if you read this, if you participate in this, your faith will be strengthened. The foundations of your understanding of the gospel, of Jesus, of biblical history and context, it will be solidified because you'll be able to see that these are real stories that happen in real places with real people, that it's not fiction, it's not mythology, it's not somebody's wishful hoping that God would do something. It's real. You can stand in the places where Jesus did miracles. You can stand in the locations of all these different scenes, and I think people are going to really be blessed. So that's why we set out to do this.
Yeah, I think the cool part about this whole series, at least for me, you guys can speak into this as well, but when we showed up in the middle of January, I guess it was near the end of January, to record this, I really didn't have an idea in my mind of what it was going to look like. But as we begin to walk through Israel, be in the places where Jesus was, it's like it came to life. And that's really, again, what we're hoping for people in this series. Just out of curiosity, Ben and Andrew and myself, it was our first trip to Israel ever. What was maybe a takeaway or something you learned in that trip?
I think for me, the biggest thing I took away was just like Jeff said, it put legs to my faith. You know, you read all of these stories and you kind of take it at face value, that it's true, but then seeing these actual places, that all these events took place, it changes how you read scripture. It changes, how you speak about it. I'm a different pastor now than I was before I went to Israel, because now I can visualize, where these places are when I've seen them. So, for me, it's really hard to narrow down one thing. I think, standing on Mount Arbel and seeing the Sea of Galilee and the valleys there where Jesus did so many miracles, that was really impactful, because you can stand in one spot and see where, 3 or 4 different miracles happened. So to me, it was just the overall visualization of where these things actually happened. It moves it from just stories that you can visualize to, truths and geographical locations that go along with it.
Yeah, I would second the Mount Arbel experience. That's really powerful, being able to look out and see all those different places. I've described the experience of, it didn't necessarily add anything to my knowledge base, but it transformed the way I understood the knowledge I already had. It was like going from a black and white TV to 4K, HD. And so, yeah, when you read scripture, you can't read it the same, because you're like, oh, that's what this looks like. Oh, this is what it smells like and looks like. And here's how it lays. And, the valley here and all those different things. And so, yeah, it just enhances the things that you already knew about the places. And it really just makes them real vibrant and alive.
So
Yeah,
when we look at this, is when we do this whole series, because we're going to be in this for the summer, is that people will get kind of travel nausea from us, and we don't want them to think that we're just going to talk about places the whole time. Really, we're teaching the text of Luke and just interjecting a little bit of places, that color Andrew's talking about, into the text to help them better see what's going on, and that adding color to their study. I think if we can accomplish that, this will be successful.
Yeah, every weekend we are going to be sharing a location with you. We'll be teaching, as Jeff and everybody's mentioned, from a text in Luke, but we'll give you a glimpse of what the location looks like, or at least as close as we can. We weren't able to get to every location, but you'll get to see a little bit of what it's about and what it looks like. But I really think that what it's done for me is it's allowed me to kind of in my mind, whenever I read, for instance, if I read about Jerusalem, I can picture it in my mind and see what it looks like. And so I think really one of the keys for this series for people is for them to be actively involved, actively reading through those gospel accounts with us. And so I want to spend some time talking about how we can get the most out of this 20+ week series. What are some of the resources, Andrew, that we've put together to help people?
Yeah, so we have a Luke workbook that's, I think, is really comprehensive. It pretty much goes verse by verse through the entire book of Luke, 24 chapters. It's pretty thick. If you have it printed off, we are going to print some of those off. We are not going to print 500 copies. So we're binding those ourselves. What's that?
72 pages.
Yeah, it's 72 pages. So Levi and I spent some time yesterday putting together several of them to get ready that are printed, but it is available on our website. You can go over there. You can scroll through that. If you're a paper person, just maybe comment on this post or something, and we can make sure you get one. We're going to put those outside in like a clear container, and you can come by and get them. They'll be out in the little driveway thing. We also have the Bible Project's gospel reading plan, and it's going to walk through the 4 gospels. So I would encourage people to get on that plan. You can interact with everyone who signs up on that plan through the link on the website. And so you can read along with others and see what they're thinking. And it's a really cool feature in YouVersion app. And then we also have the family study guide that will be on our website every week that goes directly with the sermon that is taught that week. So 3 great resources there. And then we also have a subscription to Right Now Media that everyone in our church can use. And there's an incredible series over there. It's called Luke Eyewitness Account. And I think it's like 26 weeks or something like that. It's a little bit longer than what we're going, but it's basically a perspective on a text from a person that was in the story. And so it brings that color to the story maybe that you hadn't thought about or something like that. And so it's a great perspective. We're encouraging our life groups to either work through the Luke workbook or that Right Now Media Luke Eyewitness account. So yeah, some great resources. Like I said, all available on the website and Right Now Media.
I learned something new as we were talking, something we didn't prepare for until right now. You said they're going to be available underneath the awning at our Effingham campus.
Yeah.
So how many will you have in there? What's the best way? I know people can comment below and we'll kind of get an idea.
Yeah. So I think there's like 20, 25 that are going to be out there.
So you better hurry.
You better hurry. First come, first serve. We've ordered more supplies. So we were going to have them professionally printed, and they're not professionally printing at the place we were going to have them done. So
it's no longer
COVID-19.
Essential, evidently.
They're not essential, apparently. So they're not printing. So yeah, we're printing them ourselves and binding them ourselves. So yeah, that's why we kind of need to know how many. But yeah, there's going to be a few out there in the next day or so.
Ben, can you speak to the Clay County campus? You're learning this with all of us right now.
Yeah.
What's your thoughts?
So I will be printing some as well.
Good.
Yeah, we'll set out 10 to 15 and see how they go over, and when we need to add more, we will. So yeah, we'll make sure they're out there before this weekend. And so if you want to swing by, I'll put them in the Circle Drive area on the east side of the building or west side of the building. So yeah, swing by there, pick those up, and we'll have those ready for you.
I encourage people to really use the online, because it is 78 pages. It's hefty. So, maybe do it online, get a 75-cent notebook and write your answers in that or thoughts in that or whatever. And the way I've been encouraging people to use that workbook is read one chapter of Luke for the entire week. Read that chapter every single day and go and look at those questions and maybe answer those questions 2 or 3 times within the week as you're reading, and see if you don't learn something new or something else sticks out to you through those questions and through your reading. So yeah, 1 chapter a week, and read the chapter every day for that week.
So when you do that, if you do 1 chapter a week, you will not be matching up to where we're at teaching wise, which is fine. I start off this week and we're in chapter 2, the latter part actually of chapter 2, but that's not a big deal. The essence of what we're asking people to do is to build up their knowledge base. It's kind of like what I had you guys do as we prepared to go. We picked the stories that we wanted to teach. We studied those stories. We wrote scripts. We studied the location. The more information you can build up in your arsenal of understanding, the more productive these kind of things will be. It'll make more sense to you. I encourage travelers to do that. A lot don't. They do it later, after they've come back, they see the value of what they didn't understand. It would be better to preload or to load as we go this information and study along with us.
Yep.
Matt, I don't want people to think though that they're going to be watching us, teach from a location in Israel. We just couldn't pull that off. We've got 1.5 to 2.5, 3 minute videos at most from different spots, just to give a glimpse. It's not teaching from the spot. It's teaching, from the text and using the spot to illustrate.
Yeah. Also, just to rewind a little bit, so workbooks available at christchurch.com. They're right there on the front page. You cannot miss them. Scroll down a little bit, click it, download it. Family guides will be available every weekend. You can get those on our website as well. One of the things that we've added new to this Church Online experience is if you watch at christchurch.churchonline.org, if you head there on the weekends and you watch on that platform, right on the top right of the live feed, so it's actually in the middle if you're not watching it on full screen, is the discussion guide. So you cannot miss it. You can click it there and see it full screen, talk about it with your family right after the service. Love for you to do that. Encourage you to do that. I think that's how you make the most out of the Church Online experience. The reading plan, I'm going to post a link in the comments below here. You can get that on YouVersion. It was a little bit difficult to find. I tried to find it for 20 minutes and gave up and texted Levi yesterday, and he sent me the correct link, and I'm 2 days into it. And man, it's really, really good stuff. And so I would encourage people to do that. Also, Right Now Media, let's talk about that real quick, because sometimes there's some confusion there, Andrew, with how do you get access to that. The majority of people already have access to it. They just don't know it yet. So tell us about that real fast.
Yeah. So the first thing is I'll resend it right now when we get done. So check your junk mail. It'll be from Right Now Media. And you go in there and you set up your own account. If you don't see that, then you can send a message to Andrew at Christ Church or Levi at christchurch.com. And we just need your email address that you want to use for the Right Now Media account. You'll get a link from Right Now Media. A lot of times it goes to your junk mail. So check that. And it walks you through how to sign up for that. And it's an incredible online video resource. There are thousands of studies in there for adults, but also for kids. We had our Monday Night Life group last night, and we had our kids watching Right Now Media. They were watching Superbook, which is a Bible-based show, and we were doing our Zoom life group. And so it's just a great option for families.
Awesome. Well, anything else we need to share, guys? Sounds like that's a no. So I want to say thanks for joining us tonight. I'm really looking forward to this series. We cannot wait to be back in person with you on the weekends. But until then, use these resources and engage with us online. And we appreciate you, and we'll see you soon.
Thanks.
Hey, guys.